Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate the testimony today. When I first started representing Citrus County in 2021, that's in Florida, one of their top 3 needs was reliable cell phone internet services. And that's probably true with a lot of the rural areas around the country. In November of 2022, filled with excitement for the anticipated community investment, the Citrus County Chronicle, one of the newspapers there, one of the major newspapers, wrote 2 newspaper articles. One article on the promise that the BEAD program provided to the county, and a second article charging residents to review the broadband maps and report errors to ensure accurate funding availability for the county. Sadly, the slow execution of the BEAD program means that connectivity remains a top concern, and the original hope in the program is turning to disappointment, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the states have been trying to navigate the process to get the necessary applications and approvals for participation in the program. In October, Florida's initial proposal, Volume 2, was approved by NTIA, starting another 1-year clock for the state to submit a final proposal. Mr. Spellmeyer, your written testimony outlines some specific changes to enhance the effectiveness of the BEAD program. Would enacting these changes impact the progress that the states have already made under the current program structure, or can they be folded in seamlessly?
I would agree that they would help. They would improve the program, the changes that I've outlined, and I think it can be done, let's say, nearly seamlessly. I think we're talking months, not let's call it weeks or months, not months and years. I think they can move quickly without tremendous disruption.
Oh, that's encouraging. Okay, during an NTIA oversight hearing in late 2023, I asked former Assistant Secretary Davidson about the prohibition on rate regulation within the BEAD program. The IIJA included a clear prohibition on rate regulation, and former Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo re-articulated that ban at a Senate hearing that same year. Mr. Davidson's response was the same. The law was very clear that NTIA could not regulate rates within BEAD. But subsequently, we heard that pressures and incentives were put on states that included rate regulation in their draft proposals. This question is both for Mr. Hale and Mr. Donovan. I still have some time left. First, Mr. Donovan, your written testimony briefly mentions that policymakers should avoid pitfalls like affordability plan conditions that could negatively impact BEAD participation. Can you expand on how rate regulation harms the marketplace?
Thank you for the question. So particularly for rural providers in these markets, and at a time when Universal Service Fund is under threat, that there are external pressures that rate regulation, that these programs can push on the carriers, that they simply can't afford the business case to provide the service at certain levels without the resources through programs like USF that provide support to provide reasonably comparable services and rates for those in rural and urban areas. And so it's really important that we don't have some of those requirements without the support necessary for rural carriers to comply.
Very good. Mr. Hale, you have anything to add?
I'm
Do
sorry.
you have anything to add, please, sir?
I agree with everything Mr. Donovan just said. There's a bottom line impact. This is about cost to deploy. It's about density, and everything that you layer on makes the case worse. You want, as policymakers, maximum participation in this program. you want us going to the states and attempting to be the providers selected, and the more you layer on, the more difficult you make it. And that's what we're seeing play out across the country today.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.